What's up, Ocean Point? My name is Ross, and here, I'm in our new auditorium. Here at Ocean Point, we believe literally anyone can find hope in a relationship with Jesus, and that includes you. Here at Ocean Point, we also believe that we're a community of sinners, and there's always room for one more, but God loves us too much to leave us that way. So, today's agenda, we're going to hear a message from Jeff, our amazing Pastor Jeff. Then we're going to celebrate communion, which is a celebration of who Jesus is and what he's done for us. And then we're gonna worship through song, and feel free to get up and dance or sing as loud as you want. Just go crazy, man. Just go ham. Go crazy. Throw a party. That's all I got. So thanks for tuning in, Ocean Point. Peace out.
Hey, what's up, Ocean Point? Hey, man, I hope those of you who were able to be a part of our Easter egg hunt yesterday had a fantastic time, an amazing event for our very first ever Ocean Point Easter egg hunt, emphasis on the hunt. If this is your first time tuning in after maybe joining us yesterday, welcome. I'm so glad that you chose to be a part of something new, trying something out different. I appreciate you taking that risk. If this is your first time, something that we want you to know is that we try not to make assumptions. I try not to make assumptions. I don't want to assume that just because you're watching that you believe what we believe. I don't want to assume that you believe that there is a God or that Jesus is the Son of God. But if you're tuning in, you're on some sort of journey, man, that's what it takes, right? Is just another step. So I appreciate you taking a step by watching this video today. And then also next Sunday is Easter Sunday, April 4th. And we are doing 3 parking lot services that day, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock. So I hope that if you don't have plans already, that you'll plan on joining us for one of our 3 parking lot services, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock. Okay, we're going to continue on. Actually, this is the end. This is the end of our series as we've journeyed through a TV show called The Chosen. And I hope you've watched the episodes with us. If you haven't, you can watch them for free on YouTube. You can download their app and watch it for free that way as well. But man, it has brought this whole like storyline of the early disciples being called and following Jesus and some of his interactions with people. To me, it's brought it to a whole new light, to a whole new life. There are times where I just get goosebumps. Like, I know what's coming up next. I know the thing because I've read the story, right? I kind of know how it's going to go. But the way that it's presented has caused me to think through things in a different way. So I hope you've journeyed with us. I hope you've looked at some of these things. I hope you've watched the episodes. If not a huge deal, but I think you're missing out. Well, we're going to be talking about the last episode 8 today. And there's a couple of things that happened as a part of this episode, but I was reminded of a quote after watching this episode. And it's a quote from, of all people, Kanye West. And it's, "To the hustlers, killers, murderers, drug dealers, even the strippers, Jesus them." Yeah, now I don't know that Kanye West is a theologian, but those words are profound. Those words are true. See, that's who Jesus came for. He came for those that we would often just kind of cast aside in society, that we would dismiss as a part of society. And 2 of the stories that I want us to look at today are 2 stories that are found in episode 8, and we find them in these biographies of Jesus that we call the Gospels. And it really reveals the heart of Jesus and who he came for. The first one we're going to look at is about a woman who is a Samaritan woman who is fetching water from a well. Now, what we see with her is a few different things that are pretty key. Now, we find her after Jesus has performed his first miracle. He's teaching and he's kind of getting this, he's starting to gain some followers as a part of this. And a time comes where he decides to go to a place called Judea in Galilee. Now, how they would typically go is they would go around an entire region called Samaria because they despised the people from Samaria so much, the Samaritans so much, that they would like double their journey. That what would typically, if you went straight to be a 3-day walk, you're like, nah, I'm adding 3 days onto my walk. I'm gonna get my steps in because I want to bypass Samaria. I don't want to run into anyone. I don't want them to run into me. You can't trust Samaritans. I don't even know what we want to do with them. But Jesus, he makes a point to go to this region, to go to this place. And he goes to something called Jacob's Well. Now, Jacob's Well is a place that you can visit today. And it dates back to Jacob, who was one of the patriarchs that we see in the Jewish scriptures in the Old Testament. And we have this well that's attributed to him digging it. And Jesus goes there. And it's there that he has this encounter with the woman. We're going to pick up there, and we find this this account in the Gospel of John, the biography of Jesus that we call the Gospel of John. And I want us to look starting in chapter 4, verse 4. And this is what it says. It says, now he had to go through Samaria. So he came to a town in Samaria called Sychar, near the plot of ground Jacob had given to his son Joseph. Jacob's well was there, and Jesus, tired as he was from the journey, sat down by the well. It was about noon. All right, can you see the picture here? Middle East, noon, it's hot. Jesus goes and he's sitting by the well. Verse 7. When a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, "Will you give me a drink?" His disciples had gone into town to buy food. The Samaritan woman said to him, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink? For Jews do not associate with Samaritans." So you see what's happening here. There's already some things that are taking place, or some things in action. Jesus is here, hot of the day, middle of the day, and he engages in conversation with a woman, which to us in our culture, not a big deal, right? If a guy wants to talk to a female, not anything that we would think of, right? Just whatever. Not so in this culture. A man didn't just engage and talk to someone, a stranger, a female that he had no relationship with, but he does. And it's not just any female, it's a Samaritan, someone that they wouldn't associate with. And what Jesus is doing is he's breaking down walls. He's breaking down walls immediately. He's breaking down walls based on gender. He's breaking down walls based on race. And he's saying, no. Those things, they're silly. Those things, cast them aside. I am talking to you. So he asks for water, and she says, you don't know what you're talking about. How can you ask me for a drink? And then in verse 10, it picks back up, and we read this. Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." Living water. Man, what is living water? I think it's kind of this weird phrase, right? Living water. And I'm reminded of growing up in Florida, there would be times where we'd go swimming in lakes, and at different church camps, they would have lakes there. And one of the things that they would do after you got out of just a regular lake was they would take this vinegar solution and squirt it in your ear, just kind of to like flush out whatever is in your ear, because there were amoebas in the lake water. And if they didn't flush it out, it could go somehow into your ear canal and up into your brain and like kill people. Like just bizarre things, right? You're like, I never want to go to Florida. But this was just a real thing because the water was alive. There were things in it. That's not what Jesus is talking about, right? He's not talking about amoebas in the water. He's not talking about like some water monster, where it kind of takes form and it's this living water as a part of that. No. That is not what he's talking about. Continues, and verse 11, "Sir," the woman said, "you have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep." She's you're saying things. This doesn't make sense because you don't even have. This is like a legit well, and you have nothing to pull water out of the well. Where can you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself, as did also his sons and his livestock? And here's where Jesus goes with this. And Jesus answered, "Everyone who drinks from this water will be thirsty again. Have you ever been like super thirsty? I mean, like parched. I mean, to the point where just everything in your mouth just is dry and you're so dehydrated. The first time I can remember being like genuinely like thirsty. I mean, not just, hey, I could go for a drink, but dehydrated. I was in fifth grade, and I was going on a bicycle ride with my fifth grade girlfriend, and this was Florida again, middle of the summer. It was hot, and we were riding for a while, and I didn't realize how hot it was. I didn't realize how long we'd been riding, and all of a sudden, I just knew that I was feeling thirsty and lightheaded, and straight up passed out. Now, let me just tell you, all the fifth graders out there, if you are looking to impress your fifth grade girlfriends, passing out on not the way to do it. Well, I wound up getting liquids and was okay, but that was like the first time I realized like, what it was like to just really truly be thirsty. And Jesus says, hey, whoever drinks from this water, you will thirst again. It doesn't matter what your favorite drink is, right? I'm curious, like those of you who are watching on Facebook, comment, what is your favorite drink? If you could only drink one drink for the rest of your life, what is it? Is it is it a soda of some sort? Is it sweet tea? Is it, what is your favorite drink? For me, I think I could just drink unlimited amounts of Dr. Pepper. Like I just if I knew that it would do nothing to me bad, I would just drink it for days. But here's the thing. You could drink as much Dr. Pepper as you want. You could drink as much milk as you want, as much kombucha if you want, like whatever your thing is. Guess what? You will be thirsty again. So Jesus says, whoever drinks this water will thirst again. Verse 14, but whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. Because here's why. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water, welling up to eternal life. That's the hope, right? I think we all desire hope. It's kind of a catchy word today. Hope. Whether it be because of looking at your bank account and desiring hope, looking at the political landscape and desiring hope, looking at the dysfunction of our society, the dysfunction of your family, and thinking that you need hope. We desire hope. But what is the hope? The hope that Jesus offers is that there is something more than what this world has to offer. And he offers it to each and every one of us. So this is the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman. And you can continue to see the rest of her story if you read in John chapter 4 and follow on from there. But I want us to look at another person where Jesus crosses these boundaries, where Jesus goes beyond. And we see actually last week in episode 7 where Jesus is talking to Matthew. Matthew is a tax collector. And we've established that tax collectors were their own brand of sinners because they were seen as people who had betrayed their own kind, their own people. They were working for the enemy as a part of that. And Jesus looks to Matthew. And if you watched episode 7, man, there was a part that it punched me in the gut. I got goosebumps. I started like tearing up. I knew it was coming. But when Jesus looked at Matthew and just said these two simple words, follow me, I was like, there it is. There it is. But what happens after Jesus says, follow me, is Matthew holds this banquet and they go to have dinner there. And that's what I want us to look at right now. Now, we find this in the biography that we call the book of Luke, the Gospel of Luke. And Luke records this in chapter 5. And I'll pick up in verse 27, where we kind of talk about this follow me piece, but then we'll jump in and continue through there. So if you're following along, Luke chapter 5, verse 27, this is what it says. After this, Jesus went out and saw a tax collector by the name of Levi. Levi is Matthew, it's the same person, sitting at his tax booth. Follow me, Jesus said to him. And Levi got up, left everything, and followed him. Verse 29. Then Levi held a great banquet for Jesus at his house, and a large crowd of tax collectors and others were eating with them. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law who belonged to the sect complained to his disciples, "Why do you eat and drink with tax collectors and sinners?" Now, here's something we have to know, all right? Because for many of us, it's been a long time since we've shared a meal with someone, or it's been a long time since we've had someone over to our home to have a meal with. Right? But whenever we do that, first of all, it creates kind of this level playing field of saying, you know what, I see you as someone who is equal to me. Like we can break bread together. We can share a meal together. I invite you into my home, into this place of, to make myself vulnerable so you can see what, like, behind the curtain within my life. That part was still true. And you can kind of transfer that thought into it, but it's more than that, because in the culture in which we're reading, when Jesus is walking the earth, there is this mindset that you would invite people, you would have dinner based on this philosophy of reciprocity. Reciprocity. There it is. Can't even speak English these days. All right, reciprocity. And it's just the nature of the reciprocal, like, I'm going to give you something, and only because I know that I can later get something from you. So I'll invite you over to a meal, but I'm only going to invite the people over for a meal that I know I can ultimately ask something of later down the road. So Jesus, he's eating with tax collectors. He's eating with sinners. He's associating with them, doing life with them. Can't get anything from them. This is not what seems to make sense. But then Jesus says this to the Pharisees, to these teachers of the law. He says, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners to repentance." That stung. Because as the Pharisees heard this, he was speaking harshly towards them. See, there was this different mindset. The Pharisees kind of had this idea and this thought in their mind that, hey, you know what? You need to behave differently, and then you can belong and you can be a part of what it is that we have going on. But that's not the way that Jesus approached it. Jesus approached it in a very different way. He said, I want you to belong. And then we'll be able to notice life change. See, the Pharisees said, change, and then you can join us. Jesus said, join us, and then you'll change. And I don't know what your history of the church has been, but for many people, their experience has been something like this. If you change your beliefs, then then you'll change your behavior, and then once you change your behavior, then you'll belong. Then you get to be a part of the club. But that's not how Jesus modeled ministry, and that's not how we want to create ministry here at Ocean Point. We kind of flip it around. What Jesus said was, hey, I want you to experience belonging. I want you to know that I know who you are before you do anything else. And then after you're able to belong and feel the sense of community, I believe that your behavior will start to change. And probably the last thing will be your beliefs. Because for many of you, you're not so sure about following Jesus, and you're thinking, I don't even know if I can go to church because I don't know that I believe in Jesus. I don't know that I believe who he is. That he is who he said he is. Guess what? That does not disqualify you from following Jesus, because all of the first followers of Jesus, they didn't believe him, or they didn't believe like exactly who he was. They didn't know exactly who he was. Or maybe you're thinking, you don't even know. You don't know the stuff that I've done. You don't know the things. I can't be a part of what's happening there. I can't be a part of church. You know, these people, they've got it all together. At least they pretend they've got it all together. I don't know, something like that. But if I walk through the doors, then like lightning would strike and the whole thing would burn down. Well, first of all, good news. There's no doors to walk through yet. So you don't have to worry about that. But Jesus called the sinners. He called the ones that you would think you would never see in church. One of my favorite things to hear from our people is when they see someone at church. Now, granted, this is like kind of, it's been a while, so maybe I'm talking a little bit about parking lot services, or I'm talking about a year ago when we had regular physical gatherings, which we will again soon. I promise we will. But when someone would see a person at church and like, they would say, I never, like I went to high school with them. I grew up with them. I work with them. I never thought I would see them in church. I love that. Because that means that we're doing what we're supposed to do. It's not the healthy who need a doctor. Jesus came for the sick. One of the first steps to following Jesus is admitting that we are sinners, that we're not righteous, and we're not perfect in that nature. And that's what the church should be. That's what Ocean Point should be. I read one time that there was this gym in the Chicago area that was struggling to get people to join who were like not physically fit already. But that was like why they wanted to, that's why they existed. They wanted to help people become physically fit. But the perception was, no, I'm not going to go to the gym, because at the gym, that's where all the people who are physically fit, that's where all the people who are strong, who look good, who are like, that's where they go. They are already there. And if I go, I'm going to look like an idiot. I don't want to go there where the people already are fit. So the gym owners, they came up with a plan. And they made this rule that you are not allowed to join their gym unless you had the goal of losing 50 or more pounds. So what that communicated was, hey, whoever you are, if you're walking here and you're feeling like, I don't know, I've got to lose a lot of weight. Yeah, so does everyone else here. Or they did. They were in your shoes. I love that picture. I want that to be our picture. I want that to be the picture of Ocean Point. I want that to be what you're able to experience wherever you are in your journey of faith, that if you are intimidated, if you are scared, if you are just uncertain about taking steps toward the church because of who might be there, I want you to know that whatever it is that you've struggled with, whatever it is that you have done in your past, Jesus already knows. And he wants you to follow him, to come be a part of things here. Because whatever it is that you've done, we've got a lot of people here. And my guess is that there's someone else who's done something worse. And so we want you to just be a part of what God is calling you to be a part of this gathering, to be a part of this movement, to follow him, to experience life change. When we launched Ocean Point 7 years ago, almost now, we had a lot of like promotional pieces that said, for those who've given up on church, but not on God. That resonated with people. Maybe that's you. Have you given up on church? But yet you still grasp to this idea of God. You still look to him. You need him. Well, I invite you to be a part of what he wants for your life. To be a part of his gathering. To pursue something that maybe you've never pursued before. Because I believe that this hope that we're talking about, that Jesus desires to offer this hope for everyone.
stories of why they think
It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. Oh, I've seen many searching for answers far and wide, but we're all searching for answers. Only you provide, you know what we need before we say a word. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. To us. Sing it again, church, sing it. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. You are perfect in all of your ways. To us. Oh, love so undeniable, I can hardly speak a peace so unexplainable. I can hardly think as you call, deeper still as you call, deeper still as you call, deeper still into love, love, love. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. You're a good, good Father. It's who you are. It's who you are. It's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. Thanks for joining us for worship. Have a great week loving and serving Him.